That moment almost 15 years ago, and Mayor Rudy Giuliani is here with us this morning. The Tunnel to Towers is about to start a 1,458-mile journey ahead of the 9/11 anniversary. That's ahead, and that's what those bikes are about.
They're going to take a piece of steel from the Ground Zero area. There it is right there, and they're going to transport it up to Gander, Newfoundland. If you remember the story, on 9/11, they couldn't land the planes here in New York City, and instead they were diverted to Gander, and the people of Gander stopped everything. They opened their doors. I think Gander, a town of what, 10,000?
Yeah, I've been there.
And there were 6,000 people suddenly
seems to me
there.
From New York, it's about the size of an apartment building in New York.
Yeah, no kidding. And so anyway, as a tribute, they're going to do that starting right here on Fox and Friends in the next hour. You, as we look back at September the 14th, 2001, you're actually the fella who introduced the president, who was standing with Bob Beckwith, the fireman, who's going to be with us in an hour.
Yeah, I was there. The president first greeted a large group of clergymen who were there, and they said a prayer, and then he spoke on top of the pile.
Yeah.
And then remarkably, he remained behind for a very long period of time. Shake the hands of everyone, hug everyone. Secret Service was very, very nervous about that appearance. The night before, Governor Pataki and I spent a great deal of time on the phone with the Secret Service to make sure that they were comfortable with exactly where we put it. It took a lot of courage to do that. I'm sure he did that over the objection of the Secret Service.
And it was his first visit, right?
Well, first of all, we were only 4 days later. There were still fires below the ground of 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. We thought we picked the right spot, but we couldn't be sure. We didn't know everything that was going on below, and things were still falling from the ground. Plus, you might remember in the first 2 months after September 11, every time you saw a plane, every time. You wondered. Like when the Yankees played in the playoffs and World Series, I was worried about a plane coming in the Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
So that was a very, very morale-raising
now, Mr. Mayor,
event.
15 years ago, that video was shot. 9/11 happened. You lost a lot of people that you loved and cared for here in the city. How does this next story make you feel? There's a monument in Owego, New York, that memorializes all the victims that were lost. And on that monument, it reads this, that it was caused by Islamic terrorists. Well, you have one group, the Islamic Organization of the Southern Tier. They're encouraging that word, Islamic, be scrubbed from the monument because they say it encourages hatred toward Muslims. What are your thoughts?
Well, that would be like my saying that I want the word mafia taken out of our history books because it defames all Italian Americans. That would be pretty sick.
If it said Italian mafia, that would bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I put them all in jail. It doesn't bother me at all. My reaction to the Italian mafia was real simple. I'm Italian-American. I'm not embarrassed about them. I don't belong to them. I want nothing to do with them. And they represent the bad part of my ethnic background. Every ethnic background has a bad part. There's a bad part to the Islamic religion. And the good part of the Islamic religion shouldn't feel at all hurt by Islamic terrorism. They should feel angry about it. They should feel like, maybe even stronger than I do, they should be wiped out, because I felt stronger than I think maybe people who weren't Italian-American, the mafia should be wiped out. But good people should get together. You shouldn't become defensive about the bad people in your group. That makes it more difficult to overcome it when that happens.
You know, at the museum, a lot of people said, I don't want to highlight the terrorists, but there is a highlight of the terrorists. I think it's an important part of it.
Having lived through it, having almost died, in a building that was trapped in for 20 minutes, that if things had fallen a different way, I'd be dead instead of somebody else, and that leaves you with a lot of pain and thoughts. And I never was at all unclear about who did this. That's why I gave the $10 million check back to the Saudi princeling, or wherever he was, who gave me $10 million for the Twin Towers Fund, and I said, we don't want blood money. Because he put out a press release that Israel was responsible for it, and our foreign relations were responsible for it.
We had war.
And the way we treat. Well, I know who was responsible for it. Radical Islamic terrorism, in that particular case, is headed by bin Laden.
All right, let's change gears, can we?
Hillary Clinton was in Cleveland yesterday, and
she wasn't pleading guilty to an indictment yesterday?
Not yesterday.
Gosh, I thought...
And there you can see her. Tim Kaine is looking on. He eventually would bring her a paper towel or something like that. She had an epic 2-minute coughing fit there. And then a little later on, she took some questions from members of the traveling press on her plane and had another one. And this kind of goes to what you've been talking about.
I only said it once, and I created like a, oh my God, I got hate mail and all that stuff. Because I saw online about 6 or 7 episodes of that over the last year.
What do you think's causing it?
I don't know what's causing it. I just said, go look at it for yourself online, and you decide what's going on. And my God, the left-wing press went crazy. I think there was even an article in the Washington Post that I was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, she said yesterday she was allergic to Trump, and that's why she was coughing.
I mean, I don't know. It may be whatever it is, but my goodness, if Donald Trump had a coughing fit, you know, 5 times in the last 6 months, of major proportions, somebody would want to know what's going on.
And John McCain, they would be saying he's way too old and he shouldn't be president.
I don't know, but I caused a revolution by it. But maybe she should answer the real question: what's going on? I mean, but the real problem I have with Hillary Clinton is that report, the 302s of the FBI. I read through them over the weekend in great detail. Wrote an article about it, and there's at least 20 pieces of evidence of criminal intent that, as a prosecutor, I don't think I ever had a case with stronger evidence of criminal intent than that. I was trying to think with a friend of mine who worked with me in the U.S. Attorney's Office yesterday, who I was talking to. We were trying to think of a case that we prosecuted that would be stronger than that, with destruction of evidence, not knowing C means confidential. If you're a Secretary of State and you don't know C with parens,
you said it was in the body of the email, it was the 3rd paragraph, and it was just on the side.
That's where they put it. That's where they put it. I've read many of them. That's where they put it. She said she thought it had to do with alphabetical order. But the FBI didn't go and ask her, was there an A, a B, a D, an E, an F? How come she just saw a C? So now if you can't figure out the C means confidential, and you're the Secretary of State, you're either stupid or you're lying.
That's how she got away.
I don't think she's the first. Right?
That's how she got away with saying she didn't send classified information, because it didn't really mean classified. It meant confidential. So I think it was just semantics for her.
Well, she doesn't get the right to make that decision. The only person who can declassify is the President of the United States. Now, maybe she thought she was the President. Maybe she was having some kind of illusion. Now, that's going to create a lot of... I don't think she was having an illusion. I think she is doing something called lying, which violates 18 United States Code, Section 1001. That is what Martha Stewart went to jail for one lie. For a couple of years, one lie about a financial matter that had nothing to do with our national security.
Well, Rudy, we thank you very much for joining us. We know you're going to be on a conference call today to talk about how Hillary is would not pass a security clearance today.
Couldn't hire her as an assistant U.S. attorney. I would not have been able to hire her as an assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York because she would not pass a security clearance because she was careless with national security information.
That's going to be making news later on today, and we'll take that live.
Thank you.
Whatever we can take. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, it's quite busy doing a myriad of things, especially for Donald Trump. Meanwhile, coming up straight ahead, President Obama, the victim of a verbal attack by the Filipino president, and it's not pretty. We are live with the president in Laos next.
And the NFL didn't work out, so Johnny Manziel is taking on a new challenge. He's going